want to thank everyone for attending. Again, my name is Mark Hillenberg. I'm the Executive Director of Marketing at DMP, and we're super excited to have you all here and to learn a little bit more about our integration with March Networks. I have Jeff Hanna, who is a sales engineer at March Networks, and he's going to be doing all the heavy lifting on this presentation. But I also have Brad Tucker, who's Director of Product Management at DMP, and Jeff and Brad will be available here at the end to answer any questions that come up. And we're super excited about our continued partnership with March Networks. And Jeff, do you want to go ahead and kick it off?
Wonderful. Mark, thank you very much for getting us started here. And everybody, thank you very much for your time here in advance. Our focus of the webinar today is going to be discussing March Networks and DMP and how our integration works and why March Networks could be a potential good offset for your DMP offering. So what we're trying to do here is bring on new partners, and we're focusing on you folks that are already DMP partners. So thank you very much for your time and for joining. So a little bit about who March Networks is we've been in the industry for quite some time now. We're a global leader for intelligent IP video that is not only in the financial, retail, and commercial industrial spaces, but really any type of transportation or market that you see fit. Our product is hardened and ruggedized to fit in almost any environment, especially the enterprise class environments. We were formed in 2000. We have more than 250 employees globally. Our headquarters is in Ottawa in Canada, and our sales force is spread across North America and really the globe. We really have a global presence. So we are a largest provider of video surveillance for one of the biggest retailers, and we have a very large amount of systems deployed worldwide for small sites and large industrial sites as well. Next up is our sales team. So we have a division of key account managers, which are the whale hunters. They're looking for opportunities over 150 sites. Our channel account managers are the folks focused on our partners, the folks who the integrators who are installing our equipment. We have our distribution account managers, which help with our, obviously, distribution. National account managers, which will help with our national channel sales, our channel integrators. Regional account managers focused on small retail sites mostly and small banking, credit union type of opportunities. Strategic account managers, and finally the sales engineering team, which I am a part of. So March has many sales resources, both on the presentation side as well as the technical side to help move an opportunity forward. So what really sets March Networks apart is that we are forward-thinking, but we also have a strong importance on legacy system compatibility. So that means we don't leave a customer behind. If they buy a product today, the product that we offer 10 years down the road from now will be integrated and work together. Now, you might not get all the new features with the older product when you use a new environment, but we still don't ever force you to forklift your old equipment just to buy our latest hardware. One of our largest banking customers is using over 100 recorders that are 10 plus years old, and they have a deployment of about 12,000 recorders. So there's no need to replace those recorders unless they break, but we certainly do encourage them to move on to the latest and greatest once we end of life a product officially, but we definitely don't force you to do that. As far as our cybersecurity goes, we have a malware threat assessment team that focuses on the U.S. certs. The most recent cyber attack had to do with the ransomware type virus. That did not affect our equipment, but we are very well aware of the attacks, and if it does affect our equipment, our team works to mitigate that with free firmware updates and upgrades for your equipment, hardware, and software. On that topic, the firmwares do not cost you anything once you buy the March Network product. You get those firmwares and software updates free for the course of the life of the platform. So another aspect is we have a time saver in service calls. So this allows our integrators and our partners to field replace the unit. So gone are the days of having to put a loaner unit in, ship those hard drives off in an RMA scenario, and hope those hard drives come back. We never want your video to leave your customer's site. So everything inside of our box is field replaceable. One of my favorite lines from an integrator is that it's a 7-minute service call. When there's an issue, the health alert tells them exactly what it is. The folks will make sure that they have the parts needed on the truck to go out and fix it. And they're able to, in 7 minutes, swap out a hard drive, a power supply, a fan kit, a battery backup, you name it. Anything inside of the unit except the motherboard is field replaceable. In the case where the motherboard does fry, our management server will back up the configuration of the unit. So when the unit is under warranty, you will get an advanced replacement, which is essentially the guts of the unit shipped out to you minus the hard drives. You pull the hard drives out of the old unit, which contain video only, put them into the new unit and slide it back into the docking station, and all your configuration is pushed out from the management server to that device, making it very, very simple to replace the unit in the field or to service the unit in the field. I am one of 7 field sales engineers, and our role is focused on pre-sales technical support for project planning, working with IT folks to make sure that our equipment fits inside of their network policies and procedures, and we also help get systems commissioned. And our integrators that are using March Networks for the first time, we can be there on site to help you make sure that your first install goes smoothly and you have the full support of the March Networks manufacturer. One key feature that sets our recording platform apart from the rest is our Searchlight Financial and Retail Suite. The real meat and potatoes of this is linking your transactional information with your video. But we also can do business operations analytics, so we can look at queue length monitoring, dwell time monitoring, and people counting as well. And what Searchlight gives you the ability to do is wrap all this up underneath one interface, same interface the command client, which is used to view video. It gives you a very quick and easy way to access your video just by searching on the factors that you want without having to play fast forward and hope you pause it at the right time. We do have some of the fastest search capabilities in the industry, mainly because we give you the ability to find your video without having to watch your video. So a combination of thumbnails, motion histograms, transactional searches, date and time searches. We give you the ability to jump right to the video you're looking for and review that video in a low bandwidth environment so that you can get some of the fastest searching in the industry. Also, the reason why we're all here today is because of our integration development team. So our integration managers are constantly looking for new opportunities to integrate with. DMP integration has happened a year and a half ago or so, and we have a very tight integration thanks to this development team. So any alarm in the DMP system we can track and associate video with. So the core recording platform that we have today is our 8000 series hybrid recording solution. I'll quickly go over this. We have 4, 8, 16, and 32 channel models. They all support up to 8 terabyte drives. All of them are hybrid. So if you have a customer today with all analog or a few IP, you're able to put this unit in, and as those analog cameras die out, swap them out for IP cameras and move forward with eventually using this 8000 as an all IP box. The compression quality in this is very strong, and we have some customers, when they put the March platform in with their analog cameras, they see a noticeable increase in analog video quality because of the compression algorithms that we're using. So back to the most reliable and serviceable recorders in the industry. Here's what we mentioned earlier about our docking station, which is in the picture on the right-hand side. So when you mount it to the rack, your docking station keeps all the connections tight in the back. If you need to service the unit, you would simply turn the key to shut it down, pull that unit out, and then with 3 screws, you'd have access to the hard drives, power supply, fans, and battery backup. And this battery backup is to condition the power so that it allows for any power spikes, or if you lose power, a graceful shutdown. The units that we have are like appliances. If your refrigerator loses power, it's obviously going to stop running, but once power comes back on, it's going to start running automatically without the user having to intervene and launch some services or anything like that. So next up we have in our recorder lineup is our 8716 with built-in PoE. So this is great for a small site that does not want to have an extra PoE switch in their footprint. It has a built-in PoE switch and all the great features about the March Networks platform, including a fully hybrid device, and you can also split up your networking so that your corporate access to the recorder comes through on one networking port, and then your other networking port is strictly for IP camera traffic, or let's say ATM camera traffic for receive information. Or it could even be DMP from the PC log report sending directly to the recorder. Next up, we are releasing a new all IP series of NVRs, and this is called the 9000 series. So it's going to leverage the same 8000 series technology, meaning that it's built in a hybrid Linux environment. It does not have the susceptibilities of the Windows-based operating systems with the every third Tuesday security updates and vulnerability packages. What we have with the 9000 series are multiple varieties, 32, 48, and 64 channel units. This will provide high throughput on a recording base per channel, so those multi-megapixel cameras with high bit rates, 360 cameras that take up a lot of bandwidth and storage. This unit is exactly designed for that. All right, so really to why everybody's here today is our DMP integration. So part of my role with this integration was being part of the testing team. So I really got to see it from its beginning stages to where it is today. I'm really proud about how our integration works. So what March Networks features with our DMP integration is that we can monitor any alarm that occurs on the DMP panel. That could be a burglar, fire, emergency, and panic alarms. All these alarms are logged, recorded, and searchable through the NVR, and I'll show that in just a little bit more detail in a second. The NVR can also initiate an action or an output in response to an alarm. Some of these options could be if a panic button is hit, automatically queue up that video to a USB drive on the front of the recorder so that if there is an event where a panic or a hold-up button is hit and the authorities show up on site to a banking location, those authorities can walk over to the NVR and pull a USB out of the front of the recorder with all of the video from 30 minutes before that button was hit and 30 minutes after that button was hit. And that way nobody on site or nobody from a central investigation team needs to pull down that video, burn it to a disk or a drive, and then deliver it to the authorities. It makes automating that video handoff quite simple. Also, in the middle of the night, let's say an area or an alarm was tripped, your monitoring service could have a pop-up window or even a monitor output that could show exactly what camera it is with that alarm that has been triggered. Something similar with a motion alarm as well in an ATM vestibule. Oftentimes vagrants are sitting in there and catching a snooze or doing other nefarious activities. So we can have events, whether it's swinging a PTZ camera around to get a closer shot or to output video or even trigger an alarm or an audio message to that individual in the vestibule. So to go into a little bit more detail about what we need, the prerequisites is that the March NVR and DMP control panel need to communicate over an IP signal. So many utilize the secondary networking port to listen for this event, and we need both of these devices to be on the same subnet or proper routing configured so that these devices can talk to each other. The March NVR and admin console must be at a specific version or above. It's actually any new equipment that you get for March will be above this versioning. Also, the DMP panel must support the PC log reports functionality. I believe the XR 550 and 500 support that functionality, and some of the other panels as well might support that. And the PC log reports must send the alarms that are required to be monitored from the March system. So this is a DMP programming aspect right there. From the DMP side, it's quite simple. To set up the PC log report, you would put in the DVR's IP address and the port you want to communicate with on. Select the types of communications you want to send and then click OK. From the DMP side, that's all that there is. And then from the March side, you would add the control panel with the specific listening port and then focus the alarm events that you would like to monitor, whether those are zone fault alarms, panic alarms, you name it. You would select that event and configure the alarms and associate the camera that you want with that particular event. And then you can configure the actions that you'd like to do when those events happen, whether it's retain that evidence to a very specific recording sector. It could be swing a PTZ camera around. You could activate a switch which would then trigger an audio alarm or a message to somebody, let's say in the vestibule scenario. You can output video to the spot monitor. You can even throttle or dethrottle the bandwidth. The March Networks recorders allow you to set up a throttle so that the recorder at no point in time during business hours goes above a certain amount of bandwidth. That way the recorder doesn't interfere with the business of, let's say, banking. But if a hold-up button is alerted, is clicked, typically the front doors are locked after that type of scenario happens, and obviously you can open up that recorder to full bandwidth. And finally, the last feature that we have is this copy video to external media. This will allow for folks to automatically trigger that video to be saved to a thumb drive without any user intervention. A real time saver of getting that video to the authorities and letting them take action with that immediately. So here's a few screenshots of ways that we can review these alarms in our command client. So in the Searchlight product or piece, we have a security audit. This security audit allows you to look at all of your locations and all of the different alarms associated with those locations. You can click through and sort all of these alarms by a specific type. Your video will be down here on the right, and then your alarm information over on the left. This is a very detailed view of all the different alarms. And if you were just looking for something very specific or wanted to monitor alarms on a map, you have your alarm dashboard down here at the bottom of the command client user interface. If you double click on an alarm, it'll drive right to the video, and with those alarm counts, you'll see the first occurrence, last occurrence, and you can even handle alarms inside of the command client as well. The mapping functionality allows you to see the alarm down here in the bottom right. We see an alarm, and right now it is red outlined with white inside, and that indicates that the alarm is not triggered. If that alarm were to go full solid red, that means that alarm is triggered, and you can double click on it and see the video associated with it. And finally, in the command client, we have our video with our timeline down here at the bottom. The red indicates our alarm events, and you'll see a red with a white stripe through it. That indicates that there are multiple alarms during that time period. Blue indicates that we have recorded video, and then you'll see behind it is we have our yellow motion histograms. The larger the yellow spike, the more the motion happens in that particular environment. So that is a quick overview of March Networks integration and how we work with the DMP product offering. What I've got up on our screen right now is the product or the channel sales team map. So based off of your location throughout the country, we have different coverage and different folks that you can reach out to as well. My name is Jeff Hanna. I'd be welcome to handle any questions that you have now or follow up as well after this conversation. And I can even help get you in touch with the right sales guy to bring you on board if you wanted to investigate whether you want to go down the road of reselling the March Networks equipment and becoming a certified solutions provider. So Mark, have we had any questions come from our guests here?
Well, we haven't had any questions show up yet, but I have a question, and then I know that there's something else that we want to talk about before this is over with. So my question, and this is just I'm unfamiliar with, I love the feature where you can trigger recording of the video on a particular external media. So my question is, typically when that's used, do you have a thumb drive kind of waiting in the USB slot for that purpose, or is the branch manager or somebody able to just walk up and plug an empty thumb drive into there and then the unit automatically dumps it in once it gets plugged in?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've actually seen it in multiple ways. Some of our partners ship all recorders with a thumb drive in the unit, whether it's plugged in already or just attached with a zip tie to the rack where it's docked at. Most often, though, is that video will get queued up, and then when somebody is ready to grab a thumb drive and plug it in, then that video will automatically go onto that drive. You don't have to have something plugged in and just waiting there.
Wow, that's a really nice feature. That's super nice, and I think people probably know mainly, but we share a lot of customers in the banking and financial world, so that's a key. That's a key feature for bankers and, of course, retail and any of those, that loss prevention type application. I had another question. We still don't have any questions. If anyone feel free to type one in the question box. But Jeff, what's the licensing structure for the DMP integration? How does that work on your end?
I'm glad you asked that, Mark. So we don't charge anything for our integration with DMP. This is a completely free aspect from our perspective. If the DMP has the PC log report functionality, we can listen for any alarm that is being sent, and we tie that in with the video. And that is at no charge. All you need to have is the March Networks recorder and the DMP panel, and that's it.
Excellent. Well, so it's really the same way from us. If you have an IP-enabled XR control panel, XR550, XR150 that has an Ethernet port on it, then you automatically get the PC log reporting on that, and it is easy to enable in programming, and so that's a no-cost option. So I'm not a video guy, so I don't spend a lot of time looking at video stuff, but it looks like the Searchlight product looks pretty powerful to me and looks like it has a lot of features, so congratulations on that.